Alright, so philosophy. I think, therefore I am. It's a really amazing statement. Basically, the fact that you're thinking proves that you exist, right? It's, what is it, ergo sum or something like that? Basically, when you think, therefore you are, it is the creation of an ego to exist in your brain as a character of who you are, right? But if we're gonna go that route, if we have an ego, the whole point of what I'm trying to do generally is like enlightenment, spirituality, that kind of deal. And so the creation of ego by thinking, I think therefore I am, is a perfect, counterplay to the idea of enlightenment, which is the lack of ego and the lack of thought. You're supposed to be, meditation, just chilling, you just kind of exist, that deal. So it kind of also brings up to me the idea, remember the old koan, what is the sound of one hand clapping? I always go like this, because this is the obvious answer, it's one hand and it's clapping, it's easy. But the whole point of all the koans and everything, they're all weirdly unanswerable questions or weird riddles that you have to think about for years before you figure them out. But it's kind of got an easy answer. So the sage is like, "What is the sound of one hand clapping?" And the student's like, "What? Huh? Like that doesn't even make sense. I'm trying to think about it." And then the master says, "Stop! You had it. You already had it. It was already there." That moment, that millisecond, when your brain is like, "Oh, well, fuck. I literally can't answer that question. There's literally nothing that I can possibly do to answer that question." For that millisecond, you have no thought, pure nothing. You're not even there. It's a pure, it's not enlightenment, but it's like a pure little metaphor for that moment of awakening, when you have it. So to not think about it, is to have the answer. That's the whole point of what you're doing. You're not supposed to get the answer of what is one hand clapping. You're supposed to just stop. You're just supposed to be enlightened, you know what I'm saying? So the whole idea of it is to not think, to stop thinking about it is basically to stop thinking, then I think, therefore I am. To stop thinking, I don't think, therefore I am not. Kind of course, yeah. The I that you have, the ego that you have, is an illusion created by your thoughts in the first place. I mean, when you're thinking about something, you're categorizing it. You think about an apple or something. So imagine an apple in your mind. So now you're thinking about an apple. It's an illusion of an apple. It's just in your mind. It's separate from a real apple. So basically, a separation from the real thing. It cannot be the real thing. I have notes, sorry. So your thought of yourself, your ego, is a separation, is an illusion. It cannot be the real self. Your thought of yourself, your ego of who I am, cannot be, by definition, your real self, because a thought is just an illusion, a recreation of yourself, right? So to not think is to not exist. You no longer have an I that exists, but look, you're still here. The illusion of the self has disappeared, remember? The ego has disappeared, your I has disappeared, but you have a self. Your real self is what is watching the thoughts. It is what is experiencing the phenomena of the thoughts, the feelings, the sensations, sight, and etc. It's just the experiencing thing. And that's all I got. Food for thought. How do I stop this thing? Peace and love.